Hello everybody, I'm So Cutie, and today we're going to be talking about some of my issues with Disney Lorcana. I want to preface with saying that I don't dislike Disney Lorcana. It is still my first TCG, is still my favorite game to play. But I've been really discouraged lately to even jam games on Lorcanito. The local scene is pretty timid, it's pretty quiet, so I don't really find myself having motivation to play. Ever since I went to Georgia, I still want to go to Houston for the CCS and all these things, and I'm still keeping up with updates, I'm still keeping up with lists, but recently I've just come with a lot of issues, especially after PPG Orlando. A lot of things I want to get off my chest, a lot of things I want to see how the community reacts, and just kind of spark discussion on what this game really needs and what my issues have been with Disney Lorcana recently. Again, I don't plan to switch games or anything like that, or switch TCGs or quit Lorcana or not play as seriously as I do. I will still go to tournaments and practice beforehand, but and again, things that I say are there's still ways to get around what I say, so it's not just like our do or die moment, like the game doesn't have functionality at all, but it's just kind of my take on how it could just be a little bit better. So let's get right into it. So what really sparked my thoughts was first, Kawa or Lorcana Podcast had performing and they didn't want to do it. Also, seeing PPG Orlando and seeing that not only Cookie Run but Riftbound had almost twice the amount of Lorcana players, and Lorcana players who have found so much success had swapped over to other games was just very odd. Obviously, DeCandio isn't allowed to play in Disney Lorcana events, but DeCandio was also playing Riftbound, SSG Ghosty, just professional players from all other games were playing Riftbound, and you just don't see that in Disney Lorcana, and I kind of sat back and asked myself why, and why is Riftbound so much more rewarding to the player. So it's just a lot of things that kind of set me to spiral and set me to think about, what is Disney Lorcana doing wrong, and just viewing it as a TCG, very analytically, and kind of taking my emotion away from it. Like, obviously I love it, I love competing, I love going, I know how to play the game and all these other things, but why is it that it can't strike the competitive scene as well as something like Riftbound does, besides an IP, right? Because obviously Riot and League of Legends are just like one of the biggest IPs, especially in the East. But again, like, it also just came down to like, what is Disney Lorcana compared to like other games like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh and all these other games. Obviously, like, I've never played them, and I only really see them from the outside in, and I see that there's a lot of complexity. And the times that I have tried to play Riftbound, like I played a starter deck tournament, and I played a small constructed Nexus Knight, and it's just insane. There's just so much interaction. There's so many things happening where you have so much control over what the opponent's doing and what you're doing. And when I look back and I play Lorcana, I'm like, I want to play Lorcana because it's so much easier. And Lorcana is really just a really big game of cat and mouse. When you're on the play, you're the one that has to say, like, all right, I get to start this game. Do you have the utilities to catch up to me and then take over the game, right? Like, we're playing tag, right? And something that really, like, recently was Zan's win with Monstro OTK. It's like, why can a gimmick like Monstro, where you need to produce an 8-drop body and then go through a sequence to go through your whole deck and then discard the specific card and then repeat this card, why is it so easy to do that? Why is it so easy for somebody to produce something like that and go undefeated basically in Swiss besides their very first round, right? And it just kind of came to the idea that, like, especially a color like purple and blue, like, you get to play the game and they get to watch you play the game and hopefully have 2 to 3 cards to swap the game over back to them, and even then it's not enough time, and things like that are just very, I don't know, I don't want to find the wrong word here, like, it's very discouraging to sit down, right, lose the die roll, be on the draw, be on a deck like Purple Steel, and then go into Monstro TK, right? So you're basically not questing because this Rafiki's keeping you in check, right? You don't want to just lose cards for free. That's very common. But then they get to play like things like Lantern and things, and you don't get to respond until turn 4 when you get to put like a strength down for 4. But what are you really hitting? Like, they've already produced probably like Genie, Elephant, or Hades, and you're about to get Demona swung, and they're starting to accrue lanterns for Monstro. And once they put Monstro down, what do? Like, do you have 2 bolts in your hand? Do you have the Demona and then like a 5-man like dive into the Monstro? Like, you keep doing this, and let's say you do. Let's say you have the double bolt, right? You double bolt into them, and you get rid of the monster. Like, you know that you can't be OTK'd. So you start questing. You're like, okay, I'm gonna start questing, right? He can't do anything. He needs to accrue resources. Okay, you've quested, and now monster just gets to take your board, and he's successfully become the mouse again. And it's just continuously like, who gets to run away with the game? And once you get control of the game, can you shut out the other player because of your gimmick, right? It's basically like, can you do your thing better than the opponent doing their thing? And it's just kind of things like that where you don't get to interact. Again, that's why Blue Steel was such a big problem, and Hiram and Fortisphere was such a big problem. It's turns of like 40, like a person could take almost 5 actions in their turn where you get to Hiram, draw, item, draw, action, search, action, search, play this character. This character gets to return me this item. I have 1 more ink, play this item, draw for this item, your go. Alright, I get to play this, and I'm gonna attack your crab. Okay, that's fine. I get to play crab, get this other item. Now I have 4 items. Next turn I get to play Lucky Dime and get 10. Like, can you destroy this crab? Right? It's things like that. And it's just kind of weird, right? And like post rotation, it's literally only been Blurple and Purple Steel. Obviously there's a lot of outliers, and I don't want to say like, you know, this is tier 0. You can't beat it. Obviously there's decks you can beat it with, like Circle Dogs beats it, there's Blue Steel that beats it, there's things that beat it. But the problem is that metashare will always be like 50% Purple Steel, and nobody bats an eye because they find it competitive and they find it fun. But in reality, like, you can win on the draw, but on the play, if they go strength on curve, they go bolt on curve, if they go us on curve, if they go Demona, like, what do you really do? What do you genuinely do? Do you play Pete? Do you play Gantu? Okay, then you're missing slots to play things like Demona 80s, right? You're taking up all these slots to play worse cards just to possibly keep up with the game. Again, the metashare, I don't know what happened, like, the metashare for Blue Steel was like 50% as well, like, everybody's playing Blue Steel, and then they banned Hiram. The metashare is literally 60% Purple Steel for like any major event, and they don't really care. Like, it's fine. Like, I understand it too. It's a little frustrating to talk about, but like, it's a fun deck, and it's really rewarding when you do beat somebody on the draw, or when you play Emerald Sapphire or Blue Steel and you're like, it's Purple Steel, like, I'm gonna wreck them, right? Because even if they start, I get to play blue and then catch up, all these other things. But again, the metashare has just become kind of unhealthy in terms of like what you see. It's gonna be purple something, blue something, and you kind of know why it goes that way. There's also problems with like unstoppable on the play curves. There's gonna be 3 decks that I really talk about right here. The first deck is just green blue. This is basically like Fungus's 2-4-6. Like, once they hit Philip on curve, if they can hit Philip on curve and they board wipe you once, the likelihood is, again, you don't play Gantu, you don't play Pete, you don't play Mowgli, you don't play Ursula, because those cards are suboptimal in the meta decks. So the likelihood is that you get shut out if they get to do their thing. They've officially caught the mouse, and they get to be the mouse now. They get to play tag. Can you keep up with their giant characters questing for 3 or 2? Do you also play Philip to board wipe them and then just do the same thing over and over and over again? Do you get to just play the same exact mechanic as your opponent and possibly draw better to possibly swing the board better? Are you playing things to influence that? Are you playing develop, sail, visions, Donald? Like, it's copy and paste. You're saying the same thing every single time. Again, on the play curves, are you drawing better? Do they draw Pete? Are you playing 1 Pete? Are you playing 2 Pete? Did you draw your Pete? Did you draw your strength? Did they have no strength? Did you have your strength? Did you have Elsa? Did you have Lexington? There's just a lot of things that you can't control. Again, it's just copy and paste list. Do you get luckier in Swiss? Do you get better opponents? Do you get worse opponents? Did you go 7-0 in Swiss and then lose the very first round because in reality you just got lucky in Swiss and hit every single scrub? And there is no skill expression, so you just got to roll higher. Did you just win the die roll every single time? Did you go just to 3 in every single game? Did you hit strength on curve every single time, and then in top cut you never hit strength, so you lost? Obviously, like, there's a lot of things that can happen. There was a lot of games that I played where I was on the play, and I did not have strength, but I still thugged it out, and I played with the resources that I had, and I played with Hades and Demona and Elsa and Cheshire Cat, and I played with these cards, and I still won. So obviously I'm not saying that it's just, you know, the ultimate like just win. There's also times where I've lost when I hit the perfect curve, right? But the problem is that if you hit the perfect curve and you just keep drawing exponentially better, or even just the perfect curb, and then they do not draw the correct 3 cards that they need to stop you, like, you're snowballing. A game where you get to snowball isn't necessarily fun, and I do understand that. It's also something that is good about, even when I played like the starter deck games of like Riftbound and things like that, you just got to interact, and even when it felt like they were at game, somehow you just came back and like bored at them, and like now you have control of the whole game. That's still fun. Like that's fun because it feels fun. And the only time that I feel like I've had lots of fun playing Disney Lorcana was when I played people like Kendall, Skylar, Freddy, all these like really good players that top cut consistently, that know what they're doing. Like that's when I had the most fun, because it felt like the game was going back and forth. And sometimes it just feels like if I drew worse, I would lose terribly, right? I would lose 2-0. I felt like I couldn't do anything because their curve was just so good. Like I didn't have the correct things to curve out, even though I would pocket like the correct things, or I would just draw worse, right? But in games, again, that I go back to during TCS, it was fun because we both had everything we wanted, and we both played it so optimally where the game really did feel like there was a lot of interaction. But again, those players, like Snuggly Duckling players and people in Swiss that I met, they probably played games against people with almost the exact same list as I did, but they just drew worse, or they drew godly and they just won, or they just lost, right? So again, like variation and interaction is just so much different. This is one of the decks that I just continuously kind of dislike. I was playing green purple, and when they get to curve out to like Rafiki, Tipo, Elephant, Hades, Demona, dude, they're wiping your board and they're drawing 3 and they're blue. Like, what are we doing, right? It's kind of something that you can't stop. You can't stop the card from existing in their hand, and you can't stop the ink from going into their inkwell, because they're always drawing the replacement card and they're just ramping, right? Like they're playing cards that are just really strong. And obviously there's comebacks. Like in these scenarios, would I produce 2 Phillips? Would I produce the Webby Phillip? Would I produce the Clarabelle? Would I produce something that could survive and then swing the next turn? Would the turn after Demona, would I produce another Philip, Malicious Philip? Like, but again, it's the combination of needing 3 to 4 cards in this game just to swing the game back. And at the point where I would be able to swing, the Blurple player is already at almost 15 lore. And even though it feels like this game is back in my hands, the mouse is just too fast at that point. He's already through all the cheese, bro. I saved like this much cheese, right? Like it doesn't really matter. And I lost anyways. There was a time where like you can just top deck the best card and like you can't stop it, right? So it goes back into my thing. Like in the moment, post rotation, there's only so many cards that really say like it doesn't matter that you do this. Like Clarabelle is a card that you have to play in blue, mainly because you get to her quicker, and a deck like Blurple or Purple Steel typically likes to accrue resources and love big hand sizes. So it's like green beats purple, right? Like green gets to just like be advantageous and draw with them, but like, okay, what do you pair with it, right? Like what do you want to pair with it? Purple? It's like you're just playing purple on purple, but you get to possibly draw because you didn't get to draw as much, you know. And then again, there's things like Webby where you get to quest for 2 and be fully protected and then ink with them. But again, you need 2 cards. You need 2 cards. You need out of your 8, you need 8 cards out of 60 just to be able to play against them if they draw good, if they draw their gimmick. And so like it's a catch-up mechanic. And again, Prince Philip being able to board wipe somebody is so big, and then having a body that quests for so much. This is a good catch-up and swing card. Again, Ursula on 2, you get to strip their strength, you get to strip their bolt. That's huge, right? You get to strip an inkable, you get to strip their swing card, you get to strip their snowball. But now you have a 1/3 body that quests for 1 and it doesn't do anything because you don't have things like Cricky. Sure, you have things like Lilo, but why are you going to play Lilo? Why are you going to play Green Steel, right? Why not play Green Purple? Why not play Cheshire Cat? Why not threaten damage? But again, it comes back to the thing like, why not just play purple, right? So again, being color restricted to swing cards, and obviously there's so many other swing cards like Pete and Gantu, but again, like if you're going to play Steel, you're going to just lose slots where you'd rather play something else, or inkable slots or uninkable slots, and why not just play purple? You know, it's kind of things like that. Before rotation, this is obviously, again, I want to preface, like, I do like playing as Lorcana, and there is so many ways to swing the tempo back to you, but it is so demanding and it is so hard. And when it is two great players drawing amazingly, it is a really good game. It is an amazing game. When it is two great players and one of them has the a 70% amazing hand and the other player has a 50% amazing hand, the 70% player blows out the 50% player. That is insane. If it's 100% to 0%, the game's not even playable, right? Again, these cards, obviously people don't like Prince John, and I understand that. People don't like B-Prep, and I understand that. People didn't really like Holy World. Holy World was really, really strong. But again, cards like Ruby Amethyst, where they just got like perma cleared, even things like Green Steel or Green Purple, where you just got perma cleared by things like Cinderella, same exact kind of scenario of cat and mouse. You got to play things like Prince John and B-Prep that basically you basically weren't able to interact with them in the losing matchups, right? Because in Amber Steel at the time, like, you'd have to whole new them into something else and blah blah, whatever, right? You had CC and whatever, but these cards, like, solo, if you played them, they got to not only disrupt the board state, but also like refresh the game in the position that you were in. Like, a lot of times you could ink pass and play Prince John, and this guy could have 3 cards in his hand, but now you have a Prince John that has ward that can now benefit off discard. So they have 2 cards in hand. You're like, okay, I'm gonna prioritize doing double sudden chills because you want to have them have no hand, and then you can deal with the characters later, and you get to draw for 2. So like, you've gotten permaclear the entire game, right? Or you got to play nothing the entire game. But now, because you have Prince John, you get to benefit off disrupting their hand, their snowball, draw, and accrue resources to possibly get back in the game. It is the possibility of getting back in the game. Again, you can sail, you can triple sail, you can triple TPO, go to B-Prep, and you can clear their board when they're at like 16, right? You have the possibility of catching up in the game. You don't just win. Like, you don't get to just B-Prep and win, right? Like, the next turn I can play, like, Pete's me. Like, you don't just get to win because you play these cards, but they're cards that give you the possibility of winning when you're in such a bad position that I enjoyed so much, that these cards don't really give you unless you're playing, like, a very complex, grindy game, which the game has come to. And again, these are very fun mechanics, but again, they're color restricted to green. These were arsenals for every color, for every single color, right? Again, there are cards that exist, and people will say, like, you can play Ursula, bro. Like, just play Ursula, get rid of their strength. Okay, you're gonna play Ursula, but what do you pair with green? Green is such an understated and undervalued color in the meta. Like, why do you want to play Ursulon 2? A lot of times people don't want to play Ursulon 2. Ursulon 2 feels bad because Ursulon 2 doesn't do anything for you. If you're going to play Green Steel, all right, you get to play Ursula, strip their swing. Now you get to play your own 3-drop and swing. Okay, how do you draw? Play purple. You're going to play Pete on 3 and Purple Steel. Okay, what are you giving up? Are you giving up the Rose? Are you giving up the Cobra? Are you giving up the Lexington? Are you giving up the Cat? There's so many 3-drops. Why would you do that? Gantu, same thing. Gantu is an amazing card. Gantu is probably one of the best cards in the game, but it never will get played because there's so many cards in that slot that compete with value even higher than him. Like Genie, Cinderella, even when you ramp exponentially, like when you go like pre-rotation, you can play Muses in the slot. You can go like Ursula, Prince John. You can go Ariel. There's just a lot of things you can do. Again, things like Mowgli are also really good, but again, 1/2 quest for 1. Sure, it keeps you protected, but it's not on a curve card, and it's not a disruption card that keeps you in the game. If it was like Diablo, Mowgli, oh, so good, right? So good. But it doesn't matter, right? Because there's nothing that enables it. Obviously, there's a lot of exceptions. Again, I'm not saying that you just lose because of these small interactions and that there is no way to catch up, but the thing is that it is exponentially smaller in this game now to feel like you're interacting with the opponent, and that has annoyed me a lot because it feels as though if I do not draw nuts to their nuts, I can't compete. If I draw mid to their mid, I can compete. If I draw low to their low, I can compete. If I draw low to their mid, I can't compete. That's not good. If I draw mid to their nuts, if I draw playable to their nuts, I can't compete. That's not good. I don't like that. Again, huge outliers. Dogs is a deck that plays consistently. But the thing is, there's a lot of things that get teched in the game, or teched in this deck, that actually have a lot of interaction. Like, Chromacon is an amazing card. Chromacon is a card that interacts on the opponent's turn. You get to make decisions on the opponent's turn. That's awesome. Like, you get to abuse challenge mechanics like Belle, Elsa, Genie, but I get to abuse Chromacon and punish you for producing big characters that trade me out. That's so good. That's an amazing mechanic. Emerald Chromacon is a very good card. A very good card. I now get to benefit bouncing my own things. There's so much interaction. Chromacon is a very good card, especially in a game like Cat and Mouse where you are the mouse and you get to play Chromacon. They'll never catch up. That's an amazing card. If you're on the draw and you get to under the sea them and then you get to play Chromacon, you're a mouse. That's amazing. That's a great interactive card that has ways to play out of it, because there's things like Under the Sea and there's things like Ward. It's not a broken card, and there is item removal. It really just abuses purple, and purple is just really good. Again, there's times where like it doesn't matter. Like, people can put like 3 Calhouns down and Chromacon doesn't really matter anymore because it is too much. Again, things like Daisy questing is actually really good because you get to quest, and if you look at an action, you get to put it away. That's pretty good. Lady, being able to interact with your discard, your graveyard, your banish zone, whatever you want to call it, like, you get to play these cards, having a banish, trade it incorrectly, and then you get to shift, produce a good body, and then get 2 cards back, have a kind of like mimicked kind of draw engine. That's such a good interaction. Like this deck specifically has been like one of my most favorites when I was testing, and even when I go play like locals and whatever, because it always feels like you're really playing. But obviously things like Calhoun are just too much. Like, if you roll again, this deck on a different day could show up at a different tournament and hit only purple steel and maybe lose, right? I don't know what this player played, obviously. Maybe they were just really good. Maybe they knew how to play against purple steel. But again, right? Like, this player could have played into all blue all day and could have just like 9-0, right? Like, variance like that isn't cool, because in terms, again, I don't want to say that I want to like we should overhaul this game to be like this game, to be like Magic. I don't want that, right? I don't want that. I don't want so much complexity to where new players are just super disheartened because it feels like they can't play the game. But there has to be something that exists to feel like you're interacting in every matchup. For example, I want to give an example just because I don't play Riftbound a lot, right? But in Riftbound, there's things like Master E and Ari and Teemo, I think, as well, where you get to just basically conserve ink or runes, pass the turn, and now the opponent has to play with the idea that you can play a card that denies them one of their abilities. One of the cards that say they may draw a card, you may just deny that fully, right? If there is a way that you could have something like Kronk exist on the board, right, with Ward, uninteractable, but having a static effect that says on-play effects don't happen, or like cards or character effects that say draw a card do not take effect, like things like that, right? Like, obviously that's pretty like crazy. I don't design games. I don't know what balance checking is, like, whatever, right? But if I could play a card like Kronk that says like Cinderella or Tipo or Sail don't get to ink, like, if you play this card with 1 ink, on your opponent's next turn, they cannot produce more than 1 ink. That's good. Like, because it's a card that lets you stop the mouse from running away, right? If you're on the draw, like, again, that's why they're printing a card like Angel, like the card that is a 2-drop, that's a Singer 3, but it costs 1 if you're on the draw. Right? But there is no such thing as Storm yet, right? We don't know what's going to come out. But again, that's why they're producing cards like that, because they understand that, like, you need to have something really good on the draw. And again, if it's a card, again, I don't want to overhaul the game. I'm not saying that I want something crazy. But again, if it was a card like Defy or Counter Spell or something like that, where if I knew that my opponent was going into turn 3, so I played a second 2-drop and I kept 1 ink active, what if they played Strength and I could just pay 1 to say, like, oh, that song won't go into effect? It doesn't have to even be discarded, bro. Like, what if it was just a cheap card that just said it can't be played and just go back to the opponent's hand? Even that, like, And again, like discard was a thing where like people really didn't like it, but discard had such a high skill ceiling to the point where like you don't always get to like discard the opponent's hand. There's a lot of times where like green purple, you just kind of played blurple, and sometimes you had a spot check, and spot checking was rewarded because you got to draw off John. You could say like, oh, Trust in Me's in the game, Baloo's in the game, Bend of My Will's in the game. Bend of My Will is crazy, dude. A 7-drop uninkable, you're not running more than one. And if you accidentally ink it off the top with like OJ, Donald, Bend of My Will is not a real card. Like, it's a really good card, sure, whatever. Can you always get it? No. And like, if you get Bend of My Will, like, they just got lucky and they rolled higher than you. Like, but people who complain about Prince John, Diablo, I can see Diablo, right? I don't care. Diablo's a little broken. Prince John was almost, he was pretty broken, but in the sense that, like, you could say we have Trust in Me, you could say we have Sudden Chill, Bend of My Will, Ursula, Mowgli. I don't think we have Bear Necessities anymore, or like the Daisy Duck that like quests and discards, things that say discard, right? Like, sure, those cards exist, and you can like max goof chain Sudden Chill, but the thing is, that doesn't matter anymore. Like, discard doesn't actually work without Prince John, because if you play one card to get rid of an opponent's one card, that doesn't matter. Like, that's not discard. Like, it doesn't work. You need a card that is Prince John that says draw a card when an opponent discards a card. And the only way that it would be good, or the way that it would be even playable at this point, people wouldn't complain about it, would be like once per turn when an opponent discards once per turn when an opponent discards a card, draw a card. So Prince John, that can only go off once. Even that would be enough for me to play discard, because at the point where you can play Prince John and then sing Trust in Me, to have an opponent discard 2 cards for your 1 card and then replace that card, that is discard. That is health, and that is good. Because, again, in the scenario where you want to play into a player that is playing blue, into playing purple, they go down to a very small amount of cards before going to a very large amount of cards. People like Clarabelle, people like all this, right? Like, there was times where you literally just play Prince John and like throw Sudden Chills into the air because you can't let them have the resources to start snowballing. And that's good. Like, you're also down a lot of cards. Like, you're down to like 2 cards in hand as well, and they're down to like 2, and you know they're about to Clarabelle, so you throw 2 Sudden Chills out in the air and you get to draw 2. And you get to punish them. You get to punish them for playing an incredibly high curve. That's what discard did. Discard punished incredibly high curves. Very high demanding resource curves. And that is good because it kept very high resource curves in check from just winning the game and snowballing. And Purple Steel can't do that because what do you got? You got Beyond the Horizon, sure, but it's an uninkable card with no singers in the game. You don't have Aerial to scry cards. You don't have anything in this game. So these are just things that I want. These are things that I just continuously feel like in all my matchups, I'm like, dude, if I could just discard you and benefit 1 card. Even a card that said your opponent discards 1 and you draw 1. That's good. That's really good. That's really good. That's probably a card that says that, actually. But that's just good. Really good. This is also a really big problem right now for me. Again, I sound very frustrated when I talk about this, but again, it is just a lot of health things, I guess, that I'm kind of worried about. But again, there are ways to get around these matchups. There are ways to play the game. There are ways to still combat all the meta and all this stuff. But again, these are the 35-18 card cores. This is 35, this is 18. You basically just build this, and then you just add a color that you want to play with, and you just win. These are the cards that you see every single time. It's pretty crazy. This is also something that I saw, I think it was yesterday or 2 days prior. Just come on, like, be serious. Be really, really serious here. This is a strength of a Raging Fire that gets to take the opposing Genie, Iago, Dumbo, Vanessa for free every single time. This is a card that gets to take Demona, honestly everything with this for free. You get to draw so many cards. You get to swing whenever you want, and you get to spot check. Okay, this is literally just purple. Purple, Tipo, Strength or Raging Fire, and Bell. Swing tempo, draw, 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 draw. Super Quester, draw, combo setup, aggro, aggro, stat check, I guess. Like, when I saw this list, I was like, yeah, obviously. Like, I've played a list like this, and it's literally just purple. Like, you could probably just play like this on one, nothing on two, honestly. Play cat, play genie, they respond, take it, draw, quest, sing. Oh, well, your whole board's gone, and I'm playing purple now. Like, be for real, man. Like, I understand. Like, this player has to be really good. There's still a lot of micro decisions to be made when you're playing a game like this. But again, it's a 35 card core that you're just gonna see everywhere. You can just play all these purple cards, and then this could be Strength, Bolt, Calhoun, and Cobra, and Captain Hook. Boom, you have purple steel. All the same purple cards. This could be Tipo, Sail, ITU, Basil, Hades. Blurple, bro. You have Blurple. This could be green purple too, dude. This could be Webby. This is Webby right here. Clarabelle, and then you're welcome. You probably have a functional green blue or green purple at that point. Like, that's all you need. That's all you need, because you want to play Webby to abuse blue and have a lot of questing power. So now you're the mouse because you're questing, and you're ramping, and they never get to catch up because you ramped. So now you just get to play purple with them. Like, it's just something so funny, because obviously now this list is gonna appear a lot, and this list is really good. But it's not surprising. Like, I've played lists like this. I didn't play with like Greatest and Lantern, so those are really good calls. But like, I played it with like Mowgli, this, and I was like, yeah, it's just mono purple basically. These are the only cards that I see noteworthy at all. As to swinging the game, having some sort of impact to stop the snowball, right? Again, if you're on the draw and you're blue, you get to regain the play because you're sailing and Cinderellaing, right? Super good. If you're on the play, if you're on the draw, you get to Strength or Bolt and swing the board because you got a free clear. Demona exerts and draws you cards. You get to swing the board, free clear. Hades, you get to either draw clear or remove something. Very good. For free while establishing a body. Same thing here. You establish a huge body and you get to take something for free, likely. Again, you have a body that continuously threatens the board state. Draw. You get to out-resource purple. Draw into clear everything. Discard their whole hand. Clear the whole board. Spot check their hand. Very rare things are like the amber cards here. But otherwise, and like Pete or Gantu, right? But obviously you see the trend. It's either green, purple, or blue. Those are some of the strongest colors because they do things that you can't necessarily do in the game. They let you feel and let you interact with the opponent in a way that isn't stoppable most of the time, right? It's just very niche things. So this has just been some of my issues with the game. Again, I'll continue playing for set champs. I'll continue making content. I've just been really unmotivated to make content when it feels as though I'll be kind of just regurgitating the same thing, right? Like, we should play purple, we should play this, why not just play Monstro? Can I teach you how to play Monstro? Can you play the 2-4-6? Can you roll this? Can you stack your ramp, right? But yeah, thank you guys very much for listening. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on if you're leaving Disney Lorcana, or is this your side game now? Are you playing a different game? Are you playing a different main TCG? Are you looking to get out? Are you looking to sell your cards? Why are you looking to sell your cards? Did you want to be competitive? Are you not finding consistency in the game? Does it feel like you never win because of things like this? But again, I'm saying it all, but you can still win on the draw. You can still lose on the play. You can play cards. You can play micro interactions where you just win. That's why professional players are still doing so good. And that's honestly why I'm not disheartened, because I still perform really well when it comes to being on the draw and when it comes to being on the play, because I know how to like put my resources somewhere, right? I know how to play when it comes to these bad interactions, but I don't feel as though I should always be worried about being in these bad interactions. But yeah, thank you.